My name is Ian Scott. I'm Director of Dubai Tourism for the UK and Ireland. I've always worked in the travel industry, so back in I think 1995 or 96 I joined First Choice Holidays on a graduate training programme. So I got a good introduction to the industry, working mainly in marketing but also a bit of cabin crew, a bit of overseas. I was a rep in Turkey for a season and sort of always really stayed in the travel industry. I moved to Disney for a while and was a travel industry marketing manager there, so looked after the opening of Walt Disney Studios, for example. Went travelling for a while and then came back to First Choice as head of marketing for a few years there, just as the rebrand was happening. Previously it was Air 2000 and Travel Choice, so the rebrand to First Choice, and then EOS Airlines for a few years as a European marketing director. The airline unfortunately didn't survive. It was the Silverjet, EasyJet and MaxJet group of airlines, and then 5 years ago came to Dubai. The role that I have now is responsible for the UK market and the Irish market and driving tourism to Dubai. So we're a source market. There are obviously the source markets all over the world. UK is a significant one, with the third largest, taking about 700,000 people a year to Dubai. So the job is working with the trade, the travel industry, tour operators, travel agents, educating them, helping them, supporting them to sell the destination, and then on the other side talking to the consumer to try and again in some case educate actually and encourage re-evaluation of the destination and to get Dubai on the shopping list for their next holiday. It's a fascinating place. It's and quite misunderstood in many respects. About 30 so years ago, Dubai found oil, probably for nearly 40 years now actually, but not very much oil. And so the leader at the time, the ruling family, were pretty smart and quite visionary, and they said, look, this oil's not going to last. We need to sort of create an environment and economy that's going to help us prosper in the long term and not be dependent on oil. So manufacturing was identified, financial services was identified, and tourism was identified. So the first hotel, the Chicago Beach, went up over 30 years ago. That's now where the Jumeirah Beach Hotel is, and the rest is history. So tourism now equates to about 33–34% of the GDP in Dubai. Oil is less than 5%. So you can see how things have changed. And it's a thriving, Dubai is a thriving tourism destination. It pulls again from all over the world because its geography, obviously it's very central. So big source markets, Saudi Arabia, India, the UK, growing numbers out of China, the US. So it's got a global appeal. The marketing for Dubai has changed quite a lot actually. 3 or 4 years ago, or more, 4 or 5 years ago, it was easy. Dubai was riding the crest of a wave, and we didn't really have to work too hard, is the honest truth. And we had double-digit growth of visitor numbers every year, and it was easy. Things changed. There was a recession, and people started to reevaluate how they spend their money and what they're looking for from a holiday, I think. And at the time, Dubai, for many people, was the second holiday. So their 2 weeks holiday was protected, and sometimes they were looking at that extra spend for this extra 3 or 4 day trip that was a bit of a luxury maybe. And so we suffered a lot. In 2009, 2010, we suffered an awful lot. So we went out and we did some research to find out what is stopping people from going. The numbers were still good, but they were not double-digit growth, which we wanted. And so we talked to people, and they told us why they weren't going and what the obstacles were that they were facing. And so we changed our marketing strategy completely, and that's really has informed our strategy. It is 95% digital. So again, years and years ago we did press ads. I don't think we do any now. In fact, we didn't do any press ads in 2012 at all. All digital. The only press that we did was joint marketing, some tactical stuff, joint marketing for 50-50 with our tour operator partners. But in terms of what I did, my advertising was all digital. So what we've done in 2012 is we created a series of videos, and this is, for me, it's about peer-to-peer communication. I can tell one mother that Dubai is great for families. I take my children there frequently, and I can convince her and she'll go. That's one person. I need to tell thousands of people, and actually it's best if I don't tell the story because I'm the director of the tourist board. So if I can get other mothers, other families, other people who have been there, maybe who had those concerns originally as well, if I can get those people to share their story, then I think that's more powerful. So, so that's exactly what we did this year. We created a series of videos which we distributed through microsites with media partners such as Telegraph, Guardian, and some women's lifestyle press like Easy Living, magazine, handbag.com, and we also put those videos out through networks as well. So which means that you can be very, very targeted in terms of your socio-demographics and geography and so on and so forth. So that's been sort of really the core strategy. The market that we go for is ABC1. In the years gone by it was AB, so just really the high-end luxury, but Dubai has evolved and changed quite a lot over the years. And we do have self-catering, we do have 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and obviously 5-star. And so the appeal has broadened. It's become much more there's much more value in Dubai than there ever was before, through dining, through activities, excursions and so on. And so about 2-3 years ago we expanded the target to include C1. So that's obviously very broad. It's primarily women. We do excuse me, we do some work sort of to encourage men to understand that it isn't just about shopping and sitting on the beach, which might not appeal to some men. And so they're aware that there's great nightlife, there's great sport, there's great golfing and so on. But really our target is the female, the woman in the household. Typically a big growth area for us is the family market, and so a lot of what we do is talking to mums, and we're seeing great growth in the family market. The family product in Dubai has evolved massively over the last few years. Hotels like Atlantis and Aquaventure, Jumeirah Beach with Wild Woody, the skiing, Kidzania, there's so much to do for families. So that has been a big focus for us. Another one is sort of the dual income, no kids sort of market. For many, Dubai isn't a first holiday, it's a second holiday, and so the idea of that romantic break, 3 or 4 nights in a 5-star hotel, fine dining, great cocktail bars, that kind of market. And we also, to a lesser extent, there's sports marketing, there is spa. The problem with Dubai is there's so much to do that we can't hit everything, and so actually we're trying to be more focused, but very gently we do push the spa button, sports as well, but really it's family and affordability is a key message. So we're looking at people who are probably watching their pennies as well. I know that my challenge is people who have never been, who have got an opinion. And so when it comes to, where should we go on holiday, they're sitting around the living room table or whatever, however they go through that process. Right, don't fancy Dubai, I don't fancy there, and it's just ruled out immediately because of perceptions that they may have picked up from watching a TV show or reading sort of the tabloid press or whatever, but they've got an idea in their head, and I'm not even on the consideration list. And so for me, the brand job that I'm trying to do is just to get Dubai onto the consideration list, because the research has told us once people start to look into it, once they actually talk to an agent or investigate or go on the website or start to look at our microsites, once they engage with our content, we know that it's very well received. And once people have been to Dubai, we know that they go back. We've got a very, very high repeat. So the challenge is just to get myself onto that consideration list, which is difficult because you've got your 2 kids. Where should we go on holiday this summer? The world is your oyster, and so to get you as one of 3 or 4 destinations on that consideration list is quite a challenge. I think what we are good at Dubai Tourism is just being creative and doing different things. So whilst there's not one thing that I would say that stands out, I'm just proud that we as a destination are able to do quite creative things, and the mentality very much is, look, we think this is the right thing to do, it's a great idea, it looks good, it's creative, we think it's going to work, and if it works, brilliant, and if it doesn't work, we go, fine, we'll learn from that and we'll move on. And I think that's I like that way of working. So for example, we took a bit of a gamble this year with one of our agent fam trips. They've always been the same. You take them out 3 or 4 days, the same thing. So this year we created a trip based on the film Mission Impossible, which was filmed in Dubai. So it's called Mission Possible. We took 20 agents out, and it was a race around Dubai. They were in teams, and they had to be secret agents and solve clues and race around Dubai, solving these clues and finding answers. And of course, the answers to the clues were in the affordable part of Dubai, in the cultural part of Dubai, in the family part of Dubai. So we were hitting all the key messages, but it was a race. It was really fun. The winning team then were helicoptered back into Atlantis. So it was a really interesting way of capturing the agent's imagination, yet they were still learning, but it wasn't a standard fam trip, and we had some great feedback for that. So I think it's great to do something new and different, and for it to be successful, and that just inspires you for next year. So we don't want to do the same again. Next year it's about what can we do next, what can we do to keep it fresh, and we want agents to come on our fam trips. We want people to say, I want to go on a Dubai fam trip because I've heard that they're great. It's tricky. I was in Dubai last week, and you go somewhere and you think, wow, I love it here, and then the next day you go somewhere else and think, wow, I love it here. So it's difficult to work out my favourite place. I think the one part of town that always really amazes me though, especially in the night time, is downtown Dubai. So you go and just hang out around the lake. So you've got the Burj Khalifa in front of you, which at night time is spectacular. It's the world's tallest tower, but it just shimmers with lights and it's just beautiful. And all the, there's the lake and all the trees around the lake are lit up, so it's a very beautiful place. And you can sit at one of the cafes and restaurants and bars overlooking the lake, and then there's the fountain show. So I think it's every 20 minutes, every half an hour, from 6 o'clock the fountains start, and it's just mesmerising, and it sends chills down your spine, and it's such a cosmopolitan part of the city, and there are hundreds of people just milling around, hanging out by the lake, having drinks, having food, and it's really vibrant, and that's probably my favourite part of town.